Hi there, my name is Alistair Cruikshanks and I am a maths teacher at Wallace High School. In this presentation I'm going to talk to you about the Numeracy and Maths Champion programme that we run at Wallace High. So on this slide you can see the session structure for this video. So first of all I'll talk to you about the programme and I'll talk to you about the Numeracy Champions first. Basically, this is an initiative put in place where S6 pupils work with less able S1 and 2 pupils to develop resilience and confidence with their number structure and core number skills. The Maths Champion programme is an initiative put in place where S6 pupils work with highly able S1 and 2 pupils to extend their knowledge and challenge them with a variety of problem-solving resources. As well as this, pupils also have the opportunity to extend on their algebraic and geometric skills, usually skills that would be needed for National 5 and higher. So when we first started the programme, it started off as the Numeracy Champion programme. Myself and my former colleague Suzanne Harris, who is now the PT at Bannockburn High, identified there was a gap in the market, for paired reading, very successful at Wallace High, and we felt as if there was a need for a maths-based approach. So in 2017 we ran a pilot with a small group focusing on just developing addition, subtraction, multiplication and division skills. But on a bit of reflection at the end of the year, we decided in 2018 to introduce some maths recovery to help pupils who weren't able to access things like addition, subtraction, multiplication and division, and really the focus on that was to build number structure and develop their understanding. In 2019 and 2020 we've done some further development of those resources, so we've now extended to fractions, decimals, percentages, talking about the time and even going into some equation solving strategies. We've also went digital, as many things have done in the last kind of 12 months, and we have got a fully functioning website with our resources on it. In terms of the Maths Champion programme, from pupil and parental feedback and ourselves upon reflection, we realised that we needed to introduce an element of challenge and extension for pupils who were finding maths too easy and starting to lose a bit of interest. So this initially started off as one-to-one sessions, but we felt as if pupils work better on these challenge resources when they are working together. So we decided in 2019 to completely overhaul the programme, to embed group work as the main focus, and the resources are primarily based on the UKMT Team Maths Challenge resources. So we have the group challenges, the individual challenges, the cross numbers, logic puzzles, relay races, and the shuttle rounds, which are all really good fun and really does motivate the pupils, as well as our essential skills such as algebra, Pythagoras, and I think we're going to introduce a wee bit of trigonometry for those guys as well. Now I'm going to talk to you about the Numeracy Champion programme structure. So the S1 and 2 pupils get one-to-one personalised support once per week with an S6 pupil during maths time, and the S6 pupil offers one of their free periods per week to do this, so it doesn't impact their learning. The sessions are planned by the S6 pupils and it's based on the S1 and 2 pupils' needs and their feedback. They've got their resource website to use, but the sessions are all independently planned by the S6. It is a progressive path, so initially all pupils will work through core numeracy development, which is developing your number structure. So we're talking about hand patterns, we're talking about sequences, using 10 frames to build confidence with building bonds to 10. Then once a pupil is confident with their core numeracy development skills, we move on to key strategies, and that is your addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. These are all progressive as well, so it starts off with nice numbers and then it builds up to the more complicated examples. I think for addition, subtraction especially, there are 9 sets to work your way through. Then also we've got fractions, decimals, percentages, time and equations. During the programme, this section here is probably the biggest section that the pupils will work on, the most time spent on that. Hopefully, round about January time, we would move the pupils on to numeracy skills practice, which is just mixed numeracy, using all the things they've worked on during that year, and that is hopefully just for that kind of last 6 to 8 weeks of the programme. All pupils are invited to their Numeracy Champions Google Classroom, so the S1 and 2 pupils have their own Google Classroom, and it gives them an opportunity to chat and get resources shared to them. And the S6 also have their own one, so they can access the website, they can discuss ideas with the other S6s and share good practice. For the Maths Champion programme structure, again, the S6 uses one of their free periods a week to support the group of 4 S1 or 2 pupils during a maths period, and the emphasis is on teamwork and problem solving. Again, the sessions are planned by the S6 based on their group's feedback each week. As I said before, the resources are based around the UKMT Team Maths Challenge. However, we do have individual challenges, so that's very much like the UKMT Maths Challenge that the pupils would sit in the assembly hall with the wee booklets. You've got team challenges, so that's a group challenge where the pupils work in groups of 4 to tackle quite challenging questions. Also, they've got cross numbers, relay races and shuttle rounds to take part in as well in their groups. The pupils really enjoy taking part in some of the logic challenges. For example, one of the popular ones is that you've got a list of information and you're asked to match up the teacher in the department with their favourite number and their favourite colour. One of the things we introduced last year was a focus on core skills extensions such as algebra and geometry. This is still something we are looking to build on in the new session. But the idea is to get those pupils exposed to some of the things they would use in National 5 and higher a wee bit earlier, so when it comes to Nat 5 and higher they can be further extended as well. So what are the benefits for the pupils who are involved in these programmes? Well, for the S1 and 2, they do get that more personalised one-to-one support, particularly for the Numeracy Champions. It helps reduce gaps in learning, it helps boost confidence, and it gives more opportunity for progression in S3 to S6. I'm going to talk to you about one pupil from a couple of years ago who started this programme in S1 and is now actually on track to pass National 5 Maths. For the Maths Champions, it gives them an opportunity to go out and get some real good extension work that they wouldn't necessarily get if they were in a class with 26 other pupils. For the S6, it is a huge opportunity for leadership and responsibility. It gives them an opportunity to give back to the school and make a positive difference to some of the junior pupils, and that's a thing that I think we at Wallace High are really proud of. Also, the S6 pupils can put this on their UCAS and college applications, and they do have the opportunity to achieve an additional SQ award. That is a level 5 volunteering award, so it's essentially the equivalent of another National 5. How S1 and 2 pupils are selected. In September of S1, all pupils complete a second level numeracy diagnostic, and based on that, they either complete a first level or a third level. As well as that, we use Primary 7 SNSA data, other information from the primary school, and our own professional judgment. We also have conversations with the pupils we would like to take part in either programme just to make sure they want to take part and they want that additional support. So, how do you build your team of S6 pupils? During our S5-6 induction days, I run a presentation asking S6 pupils to get involved in the programme. This could easily be done during an assembly or a lunchtime or after school. For any pupil that is interested, we give them an application form and we invite all pupils to take part in an informal interview just to give us a chance to chat a bit more to them and see why they want to get involved. We start off with a couple of initial training days, so the Numeracy Champions know about the math recovery strategies as well as the kind of basics for addition and subtraction, and we get the Maths Champion team together to talk about how they want the programme to run. There are other training days throughout the year as the pupils progress through the programme. During the year, myself and my colleagues do regular observations for the group, giving them a bit of feedback and just to see how things are going on really. We have a catch-up meeting once per term, and there are drop-in sessions regularly for pupils just to come and share any issues, talk about things they want to try out and just get general feedback. We do give the pupils a log sheet, and that is one for their own records, but two, it kind of couples in as part of their evidence for the Level 5 SQA Volunteering Award. And also, we've got that Google Classroom where pupils have all of this assigned. They've got the resource website, they've got their log sheet, they've got their volunteering resources, and they have got a chance to discuss anything that they want to share. On this slide, I'm going to talk to you about some statistics and evidence. Now, as I mentioned before, all pupils complete a numeracy diagnostic in August or September of S1, and what we do with the numeracy champion group is we give them that diagnostic in April of the following year to see how they've managed to progress. So in year 1 you can see lots of red scores here, all below 20%. These pupils were selected for the programme, and then in April of the following year, in 2018, you can see some of the differences that has made. In particular, this one here stands out, 4% going to 67%, and that is actually a pupil who I mentioned earlier on. She was involved in this programme in S1 and S2, and is now on track to pass National 5 Maths, which is absolutely amazing. For the year 2, you can see very much the same type of results in September, but some absolutely tremendous results in April. And as you can see, the top one there, we have made some progress, but there is still some work to do, and that pupil will be invited to return to the programme in S2 as well. The next few slides are just some testimonies from our numeracy and maths champions. So the first up is a numeracy champion testimony. I'll let you read that, and then I will move on to the next slide. Here is one from our maths champion team. This is just a snapshot of our resource website. As you can see, we've got a section for numeracy champions and maths champions, and then it goes into all the different resources. If you'd like to see some of them, there is a link at the end for a Google form that you can complete, and I will add you to a Google Drive folder. So in the second half of the video, I'm going to talk you through a sample numeracy champion and maths champion session. So first up is a numeracy champion session, and it is on core numeracy development. So what we ask pupils to look through are number sequences, which we'll not do in this video. Exercise B is hand patterns, exercise C is 10 frames, and exercise D is addition and subtraction using 10 frames. So I am going to talk you through using the 10 frames, which is exercise C for our core numeracy development sets. So the first thing the pupils would be asked is, what do you see? Now, I see 7, I see 5 and 2. Some pupils may see 4 and 3. Some pupils may see 2 2s and a 3. Some pupils may even see 7 dots. Or some pupils may see these 3 gaps, which leads us on to the next part. How do you make 10? Well, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'd invite you for this 10 frame to pause the video and have a think about what you see and how you would make 10. So for me, I see 3 dots. Other pupils may see a 2 and a 1. They may see 7 spaces. They may even see a blank 5 and a blank 2. And that leads us on to, how do you make 10? Well, I need 2 dots to make 5, and then I need another 5 to make 10. So 7 that way. Alternatively, pupils may see that need 4 and another 3. 10 frames are very useful when we want to add over the safety net of that multiple of 10. So for example, this one, how many dots are there in total? How did you do it? Is there another way? Again, I'd invite you to pause the video and have a discussion about it. One such way is moving the right hand side 10 frame down to fill in the blank space. What that means is that we've now created a full 10 frame, and we've got one left, so it is 11. Is there another way? Of course there is, and that really depends on how the pupil thinks. So I'd like you to take the opportunity again to pause this video and discuss the 3 questions below. How many dots are there in total? How did you do it? Is there another way? So again, I've looked to make a full 10 frame by moving the one with the red dots on top of the one with the blue dots, and that has given me a full 10 here. What has it left me with? Well, it has left me with an extra 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means there must be 14 dots. And again, there are loads of ways of doing that one. Again, I'd invite you to pause the video and have a discussion about this one. How many dots are there in total? How did you do it? And is there another way? And here is just one way, and it involves making that complete 10 again. And a reflective question you could think about at this stage is, what is the main benefit of using 10 frames to support our pupils with their number structure? Another key part of the Numeracy Champion programme is key strategies. So we'll get four typical 4 operation questions, and I'm going to talk to you about some of the strategies we would use. So I'd invite you to pause the video and write down as many strategies as you can for each of the 4 questions. So for addition, you'll notice there is no chimney sum here. We tend not to use algorithms, and we want pupils to think about other ways of doing it to build their confidence. So for example, the blue side, what we've done is we've split up the tens and the units, and we've added the tens to get 50, we've added the units to get 14 again. 5 add 9, we would encourage people to think, right, how do you get to 10? And then what's left over afterwards. So obviously adding 1 gets you to 10, and then we'd have 4 left from that 5. Then all we're doing is adding the 50 and 14 to get 64. Another very useful tool is an empty number line. So we're starting at 45, and what I've done in this diagram is I've got to the next 10 as my safety net, then I've got to add 10, and I've got 4 left from that 9, which takes me up to 64 that way. The empty number line can also be used, particularly for this example, doing something called overcompensation. That means, well, we're at 19, we may as well add on 20 to make things a good bit easier. So that's me at 65, however, I've added on 1 too many, so what I need to do is jump back 1 to 64 that way. For the subtraction question, again, what we've done is we've basically broken this 24 up into 10s and 1s, 50 take away 20 is 30, and then 30 take away 4 is 26. Very similar, but just showing it on a number line in the second example. Probably my favourite, and definitely a lot of the pupils' favourites, is changing a subtraction question into an addition question, and that's what we've done for this last one, and this is called subtraction by addition, and it's emphasising that subtraction is just the difference or how far apart two numbers are. And what we've done is started at 24, again wanting to get to that safety net of the next 10, which is where the 10 frames come in handy, and then we've got to jump 10 to 40, and then we want to get to 50, so we need to jump another 10, and if we add our jumps, we get the exact same answer. For the multiplication question, we would encourage pupils to break the 13 into 10 and 3, 10 sixes are 60, 3 sixes are 18, and then add the 2 answers to get 78. Some pupils like to present this in a grid or a box, and obviously we know the benefits of that when it comes to expanding brackets. And some pupils may use known facts, knowing that 10 sixes are 60, so they've then got to add on another 3 sixes that way. Okay, for the division question, division is all about sharing. So what we tend to encourage people to do first of all is draw it out. So dividing by 4 means that it's 4 groups, and I would visualise this as £84 divided by 4 people. So because we're dealing with 80 something, I would always ask, can we give each person £10? Yes, 10, 20, 30, 40. Can we do it again? Yeah. 50, 60, 70, 80. And then we've only got 4 left, so it needs to be 1 each. And each person then would get what's in one bubble, which is 21. Also, you can use known facts. So using the fact that 10 times 4 is 40. Well, if you double that, you get 20 times 4 is 80. And then you've got to add one more 4 to get to 84 that way. So this slide shows a typical Maths Champion session, and we've extracted an individual challenge question. So I'd invite you to pause the video and have a go at it. The only thing is that because this is aimed at an S1 or 2 pupil, simultaneous equations are forbidden. So here is just one example of a solution. This was done by one of the S1 pupils a couple of weeks ago. I did this much more complicated. So what they've done is they've looked at row 2 and said that a music symbol plus 2 hearts is 11. Then they've looked at the third column and said that 2 music symbols plus a heart is 13. They've combined this information to get that 3 music symbols plus 3 hearts is 24. So a music symbol plus a heart equals 8. And then what they've done is they've looked at the first equation again, and they've said, well, they know that a music symbol plus a heart is 8. So to get to 11, the other heart must be 3, and they've concluded that their answer is the heart equals 3 that way. At the SMC conference in 2020, I presented about the Numeracy and Maths Champion programme at Wallace for the very first time. However, I didn't do it alone. I had 4 absolutely fantastic co-presenters who just happened to be 4 of my S6 champions team, 2 Numeracy champions and 2 Maths champions. On this slide on the left you've got former pupil Mia Dawson, who is explaining how to use the 10 frames at the SMC conference in 2020, and on the right hand side at the same conference you've got former pupil Rebecca McKinley, who is explaining some of the strategies for addition. Also, our Maths Champion team, we've got former pupils Stephanie Curran and Shona Laverty, who were talking through the heart problem in this photo at the SMC conference in 2020. They were an absolute credit to themselves and the school, and I'm sure if you were at the presentation you would agree. So after the presentation at the SMC conference in 2020, we were approached by Chris Pritchard and asked if we would like to write an article for SMC Journal edition 50, and if you've got time, it'd be great if you could go and give that a wee read. On to the final part of this video presentation, and it's just to talk to you about what we've done this year and what we're aiming to do next year. So this year, our team of S6 Maths captains are currently developing core skills extension materials for the Maths Champions resources, and that just allows the Maths Champions to get on with their main focus, which is supporting the pupils. All pupils have been presented for the full SQA Level 5 Volunteering Award, and they are on track to pass, which is fantastic. So we're looking at around about 40 additional National 5 awards for these pupils. And also, as part of this year's development programme, we're encouraging some N5 S4 1-to-1 lunchtime sport once per week with one of our S6 Maths captains. And looking to the future for our next steps, we'd like to develop some resources for our N5 S4 support and just have something a wee bit more robust for the pupils to access and use. We'd also like to develop our Numeracy Champions resources a bit further. It's been the first time in a few years that we've done that, but we want to include a focus on negative numbers and basic algebra skills, and that is using manipulatives such as the counters and the algebra tiles. Also, we plan on further developing our Maths Champion resources, in particular that core skills extension, just so we've got a more substantial bank of resources for the pupils to use. So if you'd like any more information or you'd like some support in setting up the programme in your own school, you can scan the QR code and you'll get a Google form which comes directly to me. You can email me, my email address is on that slide, or you can contact me through Twitter, and that is our handle there. The last thing I want to say is thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope that I've given you some insight into the Numeracy and Maths Champion programme that runs at Wallace High, and hopefully I've inspired you to go and do the same thing in your own school. Thank you for listening.